Hello, everyone. I'm pleased to introduce my 8th GPT for you today, the Ancestral Narrator. One of the most exciting things that's been happening in genealogy is the use of AI, particularly ChatGPT and custom GPTs, that is, generative, pre-trained transformers. And these allow you to enhance your research and storytelling. So let's imagine that you're struggling to write a compelling blog or a biography for your ancestor. You could input known facts about that ancestor into this GPT, and it will help craft a detailed narrative for you, bringing their story to life. It will help fill in research gaps as well. It can suggest possible avenues of research based on historical contexts and common patterns, guiding you on where to look next. So imagine a GPT that is specifically trained on genealogical data and historical records. Let's try this out. I'm going to input a brief outline of what I know about an ancestor of mine and ask it to generate a story. Sharing my screen with you now. Take you across to my GPT-4. And you'll see that I'm already on the page for this 8th GPT called Ancestral Narrator, which is an ancestral storyteller crafting narratives from data and content. Can draft ancestral profiles and fill in research gaps. There are 4 standard questions that you can use straight away to help you. For example, what information do I need to know about an ancestor to get a profile? How can I analyze the information I have about an ancestor? How should I craft a prompt to get that narrative? And what avenues of research would you recommend? Let's begin with this first question. So at a reasonably fast speed, it's now giving me pertinent details about what sort of information I need to create a profile for an ancestor. Give it a moment to continue to create. And of course, it reminds me at the end to use genealogical proof standards to ensure that my original sources are correct. Let's scroll back. We need basic personal information, all the dates and data, residential history, places they lived, their occupation, anything to do with their education as well, military service, any photographs and physical descriptions that you might get if that person served in the war and his description is on his papers, religious affiliation, any legal documents, so wills, land deeds, and so on, any stories and letters, personal ones written by him or to her, whatever your ancestors may have written could be of interest here. Any community involvement and any health information. So with that in mind, I now want to put in place a set of data about my grandfather. So I'll grab that for you and be right back. Now that I've gathered those essential facts for my grandfather, Walter Frederick, I've added them to a prompt here in the same sort of format as it was suggesting up here for those details. And a little bit about his residences, military service, and so on. So putting all of that data in that I had in a table, it was able to generate this narrative about Walter Frederick's life. When he was born, baptized, a little bit about historical era at that time. Next, reflection of his life and the blend of families, the fact that he had a mother as well as a stepmother, and therefore had siblings as well as half siblings. He was a master tailor and lived in several different residences around London. He married my great grandmother in 1896, Harriet Priscilla, and their children are listed there, with a few notable facts about those that died young. His service in the Royal Berkshire Regiment is mentioned next, and then the fact that his life was cut short at the age of 43 in 1915, and a concluding paragraph. So some things are not quite ringing true there. I would need to edit all of that, but I can simply copy that information and paste it into wherever I'm saving the stories about my ancestors. So that's another way that you can start writing just from a bunch of facts. I've begun a new chat with Ancestral Narrator, and I've used one of the questions: how can I analyze the information I have and highlight the gaps in knowledge? And the Ancestral Narrator has come back with some very useful ways in which I can do that, beginning with organize your information, assess the reliability, identify the knowns and unknowns, prioritize the gaps, then develop your research questions, plan your research, document your process, seek help when stuck, reflect and adjust, and embrace the journey. Then finishes with a question: would you like more detailed advice on any of these steps or help with a specific part of your research? So let's have a look back here, and let's say we're interested in more ways to do this. Develop research questions, copy that and paste it here, and prompt it with this prompt. I have pasted in place number 5, develop research questions, and my specific prompt is: what records exist for soldiers in World War I for the British Army? And I have uploaded this document for my grandfather, which is his attestation papers. It's only page 1. And let's see what it can do with that and what it would recommend. Send a message. And whilst it's thinking, I'll just show you that first page, which tells me that he enlisted in the Royal Berkshire Regiment. And he was just 21 years of age, a tailor, and single at the time. So let's see what it has done with this. It says I should consider the following: personal details. The document lists his name, age, and place of birth, and you can use that to search for other military records, census data, or birth records. Military details. The document specifies the unit he was joining, so therefore I might look for war diaries, service records, or unit histories for the Royal Berkshire. And research questions could be: are there any surviving service records for Walter Frederick? What battles did the Royal Berkshire Regiment participate in? Are there any pension records or medals? And can you find Frederick Ellery in the 1911 census to confirm his residence before the war? And then it gives a brief description of some of the information that you can gain from those databases, such as service records, medal rolls, regimental histories, war diaries, census records, death records, and newspapers. That's a fairly comprehensive set of details for me to now go and search for more. So you can use this narrator in a variety of ways, get it to write the narrative, but also help you bridge the gap and find out where you can look for more details. And I'm keen now to go and look for some of the war diaries for the Royal Berkshire Regiment. I hope that this has engaged you and has inspired you to think about how you can use the GPT-8, the ancestral narrator, to help you write narratives for your ancestors. I'll put the link to this GPT below the video and invite you to come and look at all 10 of these GPTs in my blog post, and I'll put a link to that for you as well. So good luck in trying out ChatGPT today, and let me know what success you have in writing your ancestral narrations.